Hey, we're going to jump right into a special edition of SignalsAZ.com podcast with Robyn Bryce of Yavapai College and all that she's doing in terms of innovation and AI over there. So let's jump in. What is going on?
In my world,
In
over
your
at
world.
Yavapai?
Yeah.
Oh, pretty amazing stuff, I would have to say. I think that I get to be in charge of some pretty cool, in charge is not the right word, lead, help, be a cheerleader for some pretty cool projects. Right now, I think the most exciting thing is our WIN coalition, and it's the What Is Next coalition.
What's next?
What is next? And that's what we have our eyes on the future over at Yavapai College. After all, we're, educating students, getting them ready for tomorrow and what's out there. So keeping our own eyes on the horizon to see what signals exist to tell us what may be coming down the pike so we can prepare ourselves and prepare our students. A lot of that is obviously AI. I think it's one of the hugest talks right now.
Yep.
It's been around for a minute, but November 2022, whenever ChatGPT dropped, It really changed the game. So just sharing a lot of those tools and how it can make our work lives more efficient, how it can be helpful and beneficial for students as they're learning. I mean, gosh, the things that I learn on the daily just by engaging with AI, practicing my Spanish, or I don't know how to do this thing, and just typing in questions into the ChatGPT to get some answers.
We're using ChatGPT extensively to write better emails. Yeah. It helps. It doesn't replace what we're writing, but it also gives us ideas. So we'll ask for a business plan. Like we're working on our 2025 budget. Actually, we just finished it. And so some of those missions and narratives, we'll give it the prompts and it gives us inspiration. Like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I'm missing that. So that's where we're using it. Is it speeds up, I would say, the start of that creative process, or even things like business plans, emails. I've written emails that I knew were important. I'm like, what am I missing here? Can I make it more concise and more engaging? What I worry about is it's so marketed right now, and that people are going to take it for granted. Right. As opposed to, no, it's a really great tool. Figure out how you can use it to create efficiencies. I think that's what you're doing over at YC.
Yeah, I would say that's part of it. But I loved what you said about it really is about the potential that exists there and the possibilities. It's not really like an answer tool. And I don't think we should be using it as completely as answers, but as a think partner, as a brainstorming partner, as, they talk about how AI can imagine things. What do they call it? Hallucinations, right? But that's maybe kind of one of the cool things about it. If you're going forward for the possibilities and you're asking questions about what potentially could the future look like, having it hallucinate about what the future is, or having it imagine difficult conversations that you might need to have with someone, or imagine a plan for how can we execute this grandiose thing. And then within there somewhere are nuggets of ideas that as the human element, as the human interacts with the AI, can then begin to use their brain and develop those kind of plans and ideas. And I think that's great.
Yeah, you said brainstorming. I've always said to myself, let me bounce this off a partner, but one of my coworkers isn't in. So I might say, okay, I'm going to continue the process that I'm working on right now, and I'll bounce the idea off of ChatGPT, and it'll give me ideas that I hadn't thought of or I wasn't educated on. Then I'll research a little bit more, and it helps me continue production. If maybe there's not that person there that I thought was there. So for me, it's another thing in the room to bounce an idea off of. And that to creatively use the tool that way, that I'm finding more and more resourceful.
Yeah. One tool I know we had talked earlier before we began this podcast is, about keeping the human element and, the possibility of people out of jobs and stuff like that, jokingly, but also a really cool tool. Google has come out with NotebookLM. Have you seen this yet? Have you played with it?
We're playing around with there was a Bubbles or something that was a note taker during meetings. Where it'll just consolidate your whole meeting, and it'll even give you the deliverables. Something I don't know what this is,
but NotebookLM, again, it's a way to, you feed in information and you can take notes with it and ask questions. But the cool part about it is it will generate a podcast for you that has two people talking about this topic. And we've heard generated voices with 11 Labs and different things like that. And sometimes they can sound stiff, and sometimes you think like, oh, I can hear the AI in there. This is one of the first tools that I listened to that I'm like, ooh, that's wild. I mean, there's emphasis. It's just like the two of us talking and interrupting each other and emoting on what each other is saying.
Right.
It's kind of interesting. It's a cool way to digest information.
NotebookLM by Google.
Yeah, NotebookLM. Check it out. Yeah.
So literally you could be listening to somebody else's meeting or conversation, but learn something from it.
Right.
And that's what podcasts are, right?
Right. You can take the dry, I don't mean, information is very exciting, but you can take things that are lengthy.
No, there's some boring stuff.
Right.
That's
There's
really
some boring,
helpful.
but you can take, my friend did it. She took a manual for her Toyota car and threw it in there, and it came back with a podcast that was like engaging and entertaining, this 14-minute podcast of two people like, yes. And the Toyota, it mentions blah, 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 blah. And it just was pretty wild.
Manuals, because
Right.
whoever reads how to use their car or whatever, which is the most important.
It is.
Yeah, nah, he doesn't count. He's a research guy. That's why he's smart, right? But if you think about it, all people, this way better than I do because you're an educator. Everyone learns differently, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
how do you engage those people? I'm a listener.
Right.
I learned that I retain stuff better when I hear it.
Right.
I obviously can read, but I'm not a great reader. But I realized from high school, I remember everything I heard.
Right.
I don't know what that is. That's just me.
Right. No, but you're speaking to, universal design for learning. Exactly. When, as an instructor, because I'm an adjunct instructor, and, even speaking with our faculty, you want to make sure that you have things in your courses that allow people to learn, whether you're an auditory learner, a visual learner, kinesthetic learner. So having these different kind of tools that can cut down on the time that a teacher needs to create these different ways for students to engage in this information, right? I'm creating my original notes, my original lecture, but maybe this is a different way for them to absorb it. You can also feed it into different resources to create slide decks so students can have like a PowerPoint presentation with it. You can create songs, using Suno that will create lyrics and songs based on your notes. I mean, there's just a ton of different ways.
So I have a lot of lyrics.
Yes.
Right. So if I take my lyrics and I can marry it to, because I don't know anybody that can write music.
Right.
I just was wondering, can I actually write
yes.
a song?
Suno, check out Suno, AISUNO. It could create podcast jingles. It can create, songs with lyrics. And you type in, I want a pop song. I want a classical song. I want a, orchestral song.
Uh-huh.
And there's just really cool tools out there to play and see the possibilities. Again, not always the answers. Like, please don't just take these things and throw it out there on the radio and go, look, I created a song. But just different ways to engage with these different tools and learn about the possibilities that are out there. I think it's interesting.
So what have been some wins for you over at YC since you've been there? Because I know you're just so enthusiastic and you're engaging and you got a lot going on. What are some of the things that have been wins for you over there since you started?
Well, I would say the first thing when I started in this new role as a special programs manager was the immersive learning in the VR. And we've really integrated that into a lot of our classes. A lot of our teachers are using it in their classes for students to learn, again, with that universal design for learning about these different just content knowledge in different ways, engaging in these virtual environments. So that's been really great. And also reaching out to the community. Can
you give an example of the VR that you're talking about?
Yeah. So right now we have Biology 205 where we have students, our instructor has set up like a lot of different experiences with the heart, with the skeletal system, and students can go in there and take sticky notes basically and label the different parts of the heart, right?
So I can do an autopsy, but I don't have to breathe the formaldehyde.
We actually have an anatomage table that's actually an anatomy table that is true anatomy, and people can dissect.
I remember old school biology.
Right.
It was like, we had the formaldehyde and
right.
Is part of the experience. I mean, they still use it, right? In real life.
Well, even with VR, it's interesting. We don't necessarily have this at the college, but training for like EMS and things like that, they'll do, not only do you see what's going on and you can hear what's going on, but then they'll also have olfactory simulations that go through, because when you show up in an accident, things can be pretty traumatic, right? Yeah. So the sight, sounds, smells that you would hear in an accident, and that's kind of one of the purposes of VR, of these immersive environments.
So they're actually using olfactory technology, as you say, sense and smells,
right?
Because isn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that the strongest form of memory is olfactory?
I've heard that before. What you smell is exactly,
right.
It locks in your memory. I've definitely heard that before.
I still remember that smell of that. I had this little plastic ball. It was probably toxic back then. This was in like the late 60s.
Oh, the smell of vinyl.
That was it was sparkly inside, but it had that really kind of pungent plastic smell that was in the bathtub all the time.
Right.
I still remember that smell like it was yesterday.
Yes, I can appreciate that and understand that.
That sounds weird, but
I don't think it's weird. I think, you smell those smells and immediately you're taken right back to that moment in time. Sometimes you'll be walking around and you'll catch a whiff of a plastic ball at Walmart and all of a sudden you're,
nowadays
back in
should
the
probably
bathtub.
be labeled with don't lick, don't put it in your bathtub, don't bathe with it.
And we survived, we survived. Well, tangential from these immersive experiences is that MXR program that I was mentioning to you earlier before we began this, and the media and extended reality. So not only do we want our students to engage in these experiences in the classroom, but as this emerging technology, immersive technology is the future, we want our students to be able to create these experiences. So we've created a curriculum, we've created a program that ends in a certificate where students learn about coding, they learn about architecture of immersive experiences. They learn how to create 3D models, whether that be from photographs or whether building it from scratch in some of these 3D modeling softwares like, Blender or using Unity or using Unreal Engine. And they create these experiences that then they can output into a VR world. And the capstone project of that is pretty cool, where they'll basically are project managers working with a client, and hopefully those clients could be on our campus, could be Talking Glass Media.
Yep.
Maybe you want some sort of immersive experience.
Absolutely.
And our students would create these experiences as part of their last class in the curriculum. So that's been really exciting. That's definitely like a big W, I think, for us over there. Bringing AI across the college has been super exciting. Just innovation in general. I love to be.
What great timing.
It is right. It's just, we have a class over at the college taught by Philip Reed that's in partner with Intel, where we are, teaching students about AI and, the foundations of AI, and who knows where that's going to go as we continue to develop our computer science curriculum and computer science programs, as well as just how it can be used by faculty to help students, by students to help themselves, by staff to improve efficiency at the college. So that's been super fun. I just get to talk to a lot of people and share some nerdy stuff. That's
where my
fun.
mind goes with all this stuff?
Tell me.
Is back in 2004, 5, 6, Facebook was bubbling up. Electronic newsletters were bubbling up. Basically, the start of the democratization of media, and how it was taken out of the hands of the big agencies and the data houses. It was made available to the end user,
right?
The regular person, the business owner, the individual. And now we're able to target our ads to any demographic or lat long we want with the click of a button for $25. Right. Where I see VR going is the technology is so much more advanced now and fast and so easy to use and accessible. That it's democratizing education. The technology is allowing the student to go farther, faster, and deeper. And as well as the institution itself. So I see your colleges, like a community college, like Yavapai, you guys being able to provide advanced training where normally you probably wouldn't be able to get that at a college. And now it's becoming accessible. So to me, it seems like it's democratizing education.
And to even go further, what I totally see, and is already happening in the world of VR, is much like happened. You needed to be a video maker in order to make videos. You needed to be a web designer in order to make web pages and stuff. But exactly the lowering the barrier to entry of some of these tools, where it's become drag and drop, or you need less coding. The programs to build these things are becoming a little bit easier to navigate and get into. Of course, knowing code and stuff, you can do deeper and more things, but definitely on enough to be dangerous kind of level. People are able to use these tools, and so when you go get a job, hey, I'm a realtor and I know how to make immersive experiences. Hey, I'm a car salesman and I know how to make, I'm a teacher and I know how to make. And I think that this just helps people become more employable, and it will be a skill set that it's almost, I don't want to say every day, because not everybody can make web design even with the drag and drop. But
they're always, I think people worry about, we're going to lose these jobs. Really, you're going to create more jobs.
Yeah.
I think it's going to move the economy quicker.
Yeah.
But it also comes down to now people have to go back to what's most important.
Yeah.
And that's the story.
Yes.
Right? Can't make that up.
Mm-mm.
And that personal experience, that personal story is what people connect with, right? That's where the value is. Yep. You can have all the traffic, but what is that transaction in value between the person who's looking and the person that has that story to fulfill that need? That's why it's so interesting listening to you. In our world, we're probably using right now 3 or 4 AI programs, and we're waiting to find that next thing for efficiency. Is just listening to all the different areas that you guys are touching right now as a college and an institution. It's fascinating.
It's very cool. One of my colleagues, Ryan Gray, he always says we punch above our weight, and we really do. We might be this quote little community college in rural northern Arizona, but we are so much more than that.
We've always known it. I don't look at you guys as a college or an educational institution. I said this at a meeting with Dr. Ryan there. Who had a birthday this week.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Dr. Ryan.
Happy birthday, Dr. Ryan. It was yesterday she had a birthday, right? Yeah.
Awesome. You're a community builder. Just like our parent company is a community builder. You guys are building minds and careers and lives. And without that, we don't have communities. Yeah. It's a core part of the community. Yeah. And to see under Dr. Ryan's direction and just over the years of previous leadership, how the direction you guys have gone. And just in the past few years, I've noticed a big difference in what's happening, how you're progressing, the 4-year programs you guys are employing, your engagement with the community, your leadership, those different, I'm just starting to see you guys also everywhere.
Yeah.
What Tyler is doing in marketing has been fantastic. Our partnership in terms of the storytelling and what you guys are doing is a core part of the community. So you're definitely a college, you're definitely an educational institution, but for me, you're a community builder first.
I would agree with that. And I think that we love those community partnerships and where we are in the community and that hub and that space that can provide answers, that can provide support, that can provide education, that can provide entertainment. We are, I think, integrated into the community and becoming more and more so. And you're right, under the leadership of Dr. Ryan, who is such a visionary and just sees the potential and the possibilities that are there, and leans on the people that can help a lot of those visions become reality just across the college, not just in the things that I'm doing and the things that I touch, but so many things across the college are just innovative and moving forward and moving fast under supportive leadership. And that's really, it takes a supportive leader to help things, to see the possibility that's there and say, hey, what do you think? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. All right, let's do this. Let's move forward on this. Right. And it's been really exciting to be a part of that.
That sounds much more entrepreneurial over there now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely think that entrepreneurship is a big part of like what we're doing. That internal building, those internal ideas, the growing.
Yeah. I'm going to pitch something to you.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
This is such a fast moving section of technology and business and social impact, all that. How do we get you coming back on a regular basis to talk about AI, the college, technology, recommended programs that have been helpful to the college? Maybe you want to share with the community.
Help with community, not just at the college. Yeah. Right? I got to please give me a 10-minute tool of the week. I'll definitely come back here.
10-minute tool of the week. I love that. So, all right, done. We'll figure that out. Whether you come in or call in, doesn't matter. I just think that would be super useful because I know we'll learn something along the way.
Right.
Because when it piques my interest, it's got to be good content.
Right.
So if you want to do the 10-minute tool, what would that be, monthly, you think?
We could do it. Yeah. Like
Okay.
I think, and because you got to give people time to play with it, right? Just first there's like learning about it, hearing the name of it. Then it's like diving into it. And then, then getting used to it. And then we can move on to the next tool. Here's the
we'll
new
find
tool.
a sponsor for the 10-minute tool.
10-minute tool.
I'll get my team to work.
I love it.
Robyn Bryce, Yavapai College. What's your title again?
Special Programs Manager.
I'm going to call you Chief of Enthusiasm and Innovation.
I'm okay with that.
Cool. It's great to see you again.
Guys, so great to see you.
That's why I was excited about having you in. And now we're going to find a way to get you back for at least 10 minutes a month.
I'm here for it.
All right. Great to see you.
Nice to see you. Take care.